Oh, stop acting light skin.
Welcome everyone to the am I allowed to say this? Sure? Okay. The Light Skinned Opinion Podcast with your host, author, and culture commentator Chris Maddox, blogger and overall asshole Alf954. And there's no way I'm saying this. It's offensive. Sure this is okay? Fine. And our dark-skinned producer, Parrish Thompson. What do we have today, boys? I mean, guys, not boys, because... Oh, fuck it.
Yo. Hey, it's the Light Skin Opinions Podcast. I am your host, Christopher Maddox. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another live show. We out here, man. I'm here with my good friend Alf954. Alf, say what's up to the people, man.
Sock by state.
And the Wonder Kid producer, Parrish Thompson. What's going on, P?
What up?
Hey, it is a Tuesday, and we have some beverages here with us to make sure that our throats are not parched as we proceed to give you what you need.
Not 5 more. Oh, sorry.
Hey,
I got hype for a second. You can't just drop who shot you, and
listen, but this is what I'm saying. Like, if you want to tell a man who was born in the 80s and raised in these, start that verse off like that, and he'll show himself. You know what I mean? Like, he'll reveal himself.
Or just that be okay. And if he don't make that ugly face, like,
there's certain beats, like if you don't know it, I'm not even gonna say you need to know the song. But if you don't respond when the beat come on, I question our friendship. One of them is Mobb Deep in the Quiet Storm beat.
Oh yeah.
If that beat comes on and you don't instantly react in a way that I feel is appropriate to the situation,
all the killers and come on.
Me and you gonna have to have a conversation after.
Or if you're like, allow me to introduce myself, and you don't just do this, immediately.
Yes,
I don't care where you at. You could be at church.
If you don't know where the beat drops, exactly. We're gonna have to have a conversation. Like what? Folks, thank y'all. You know, we like to start off just to get the flow going a little bit. We're here with another episode, man.
We changed the camera angle on this one.
Oh yes,
because they was roasting us last time.
No, stop lying. I was talking about they was roasting us. You were roasting me, nigga.
And then they started roasting me.
You already gave yourself away.
I roasted you, and then they started roasting me in the chat on Hangover Time.
I appreciate all of y'all who had my back.
They got you too.
Together we rise.
They got us both. Parrish the only one that made it out scot-free.
I was hiding behind my laptop. I'm a little more visible today.
I see you, bro. So, man, this is a crazy time to be a content creator because there's content every day of all types. And we were talking before the show. We're going to get into our first topic here. If you're logging in and you saw some of the promo, then you know we're going to talk about Rudy Giuliani, Kellyanne Conway, and some of these Trump people getting consequences that many of us feel are finally due.
Yep.
But it's in the news just because it's part of a larger conversation we've been having just about disinformation and how we now live in a world to where, you know, people like Rudy Giuliani and all these folks can literally manipulate reality. There's got to be some consequences for that. So our first topic today, we're talking about, and we're going to start with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know who he is. The troll, the real life penguin from that first Batman movie. My man Rudy Giuliani was sued.
That's not a scar. That's his hair dye.
Yeah, that's the hair dye running down his face. Oh, we can get into that in a minute because I have a question about Rudy Giuliani and Mitch McConnell. But Giuliani, every picture they have of this man is the worst picture possible. Like, I'm looking at one now and I'm like, this is impossible to take a good picture, buddy. But he's sued for $1.3 billion by Dominion voting machines. Look at my man. My man scowling. He just looked like somebody. He looked like if you lived in his neighborhood and your ball went over his fence, right?
You ain't gonna get it back.
You're not gonna get it back. And so, but because he's who he is, you also like throw eggs at his house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
he's not.
The ball goes over the fence. You chalk it up to the game.
Yeah, you know.
You're like,
he's the dude's house from the Sandlot. Like,
but you know how that dude ended up being like that was James Earl Jones. Ended up being a kindly old guy. You know what I'm saying? Hell no. Rudy Giuliani got to get his house egged. Anyway, Dominion voting systems. Y'all will remember my boy was talking cash about this company, a real life publicly traded corporation in the world, making a bunch of money, saying that they helped rig the election in Venezuela, saying that this company played part in this conspiracy theory to steal the election here in the United States. But my God, the same country that he claimed to love got all kind of libel laws, got all kind of slander laws.
Bro, and they went after, like, you can't just get up here lying. And the shit that he was saying was just so outlandish.
Right?
And just like, oh, it's Chavez.
Could you imagine if we woke up and there was a prominent white man on the news saying that our podcast was like some type of subversive thing to lure children away from their homes? You know what I'm saying? You'd be like we were sending out little subliminal signals at the podcast. Like, what? We just was reading that Parrish house that he turned into a studio to do a podcast. What are you talking about? But anyway,
we're not sucking the what was it? The fear. We're not getting the fear out of children.
Oh yeah, y'all go back and listen to the Monsters Inc. show, dog, with the QAnon people and what they believe is going on. But anyway, $1.3 billion. Him and they sued the other chick, Sydney Lowell, whatever her name is. Y'all know good and well Rudy don't got $1.3 billion.
No.
If you get sued for $1.3 billion, what exactly does that mean? Is that just like a bad mark, you know? Or do they really expect you to like he got to run all his stuff, his house?
He's gonna file for bankruptcy or some shit.
But can your bankruptcy with the 90s jams? But can your bankruptcy cover you out of a legal dispute? Can you file bankruptcy?
Yeah. I mean, I think so.
I guess because Goldman's people never saw no money from OJ other than what they finally
they had to go to the civil people and they got him. But dang, Rudy ain't got 1.3, so this is a symbolic lawsuit. Like Rudy at best, what y'all think Rudy got? Rudy got like
he was getting paid this whole time in the Trump administration.
Was, but I feel like Rudy got like $300,000. Yeah, Trump said stop paying him after a while, but I think he got like $300,000. I think he's spending a lot of money like to keep walking upright.
One of the reasons they do that.
You know what I mean?
All his money going to hair dye.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons they make those lawsuits so big is just to like, it's also
to make a point.
To make a point. You know, they don't even expect, any parts of that. They don't need the money. You know, what they're doing is making a point. Because if you saw, they went after everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like they went after the news stations, the ONs, the Fox News, and all those other news stations basically like eased off, like issued like legit apologies on air. Like basically, we're sorry, but we've been straight up fucking lying to y'all. Rudy is just going forward.
But Rudy, just now, as I'm reading the article here, he has finally admitted that Joe Biden is president, Kamala Harris is vice president. He did it on his podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And later on in this episode, we're going to talk about the growth of podcasts and how it's like a real thing. But he goes on his podcast and he says very flippantly, Joe Biden is a president. She's the vice president. Doesn't even call her name. Okay. That's what he says in his quote. She's the vice president. As far as this election is concerned, it's over. Giuliani said on his radio show, and that's his but he only makes that admission after this lawsuit drops and he get hit in the face like Big Boy. You remember in ATL when T.I. threw the money in Big Boy face?
So disrespectful.
He got hit in the face like that with that lawsuit, and that boy said, he is the president. You know, all of this was a show.
But I think the larger discussion is like the title says, life after the Trump administration. The chickens are coming home to roost at this point for these motherfuckers. So you got Giuliani in this situation now. You know what I'm saying? Where all the lies you told, they coming back for you. And you said the Sydney, whatever her name is, these other senators are facing censure. Yeah. They're facing expulsion. Trump is facing an impeachment trial. Like, y'all just thought y'all could just talk greasy for 4 straight years, and you had the umbrella of the presidency and pardons.
Dishing out lies.
But he walked away with, he didn't give y'all pardons. Now y'all just liable for all the shit you said. And that's why, you know, our logo for this show had that toxic label on them.
Yeah.
Because, like, where do you go from here? If you're Rudy Giuliani, you're about to get disbarred in New York.
Yeah, they finna take it back.
Yeah.
But your boy Trump is trying to create a landing spot for these people with his proposed Patriot Party, which is really just going to be a place. Because I tell you what Trump knows for sure, if he don't know nothing else, he know he can get a gang of money up out of these crazy Trump folks. He know he can rake them over the coals.
He's gonna need that money for all these lawsuits.
He's gonna need that money, but he knows that he can almost print money now by coming up with some bull crap slogan.
Fucking teddy bear on.
You know what I'm saying? All of that. So these folks like Rudy Giuliani and all them, I feel like, are kind of betting on the fact that I can fall back and land with Trump still, because Trump still has pull, even though he's been muted. You know what I mean?
But the problem is Trump's brand is already broken, right?
But is it, bro? It's broken
it's broken commercially, because, like,
commercially, absolutely.
The PGA has pulled out. Palm Beach, all these different
when
counties,
the PGA left them alone, because the PGA
is not exactly the most progressive group of
no,
motherfuckers
and they don't have any problem sticking true to, you know, to all type of isms.
But if they're worried about Trump taking care of them going forward, Trump ain't got money. Trump ain't got the loot like that.
He don't got the loot like that, but he got the people. That's his strength.
So they're hoping that the grift continues, like,
essentially,
that they can continue this grift. And I just, first of all, I don't think crowdsourcing for the rest of your life is going to fund when these criminal charges and all these lawsuits. Like, you can't keep doing GoFundMe's every week.
Yeah, crowdfunding.
That's basically what they're doing. They're crowdfunding, lawyer fees.
Lawyer fees.
And you can't. How long can that grift go on?
And not just
I mean,
the lawyer fee part. A lot, because which brings me to my next point about all this. Is a lot of that money that they're raising, a lot of what Giuliani, his legacy involves, is really a masterful public relations. This whole thing is a master course in public relations. They tricked a gullible group of people into becoming true believers in storming the Capitol. If they can skate like we think they probably will, if they can skate, you think they don't know in the back of their head now? They got a model. Like, hey, yo, if we can rile these folk up to run up on the Capitol, we can rile them up to do a lot of stuff. You feel what I'm saying?
So Curtis Hero in the chat says Hawley and Cruz bet their careers on the grift going on. Yeah. And so this is the game that they're playing. That they think that if they continue with this nonsense, like, you know, they can drip drop. They can that's a hangover time a reference. They can continue with this Trump legacy.
Don't explain the jokes.
I'm sorry. Tune in to Hangover Time. But yeah, they think they continue with this Trump legacy of just, you know, like, just fooling people. Yeah. But I just don't. I personally just don't think it's going to work, especially for these people that, like, are leaving that Trump administration, like Sarah Huckabee Sanders right now. Yeah. Is going to run for the governor of Arkansas, right? Yeah.
She got legacy there, and they people real popular there. I mean, her people being the Huckabee Sanders.
And I think that's going to be the first real test politically of the Trump stink. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
a lot of the Trump people, I think is worth mentioning, are already out. Like, when they left the administration, they left and went into hiding no matter when they left. Like, we just now hearing from General Kelly and all these people, like, now after they left out of the administration 2-3 years ago. Like, he's definitely got, but I think your point was the most salient one. Commercially, he can't stand. He's gonna have to sell everything direct to consumer, like, through him. Like, he's not gonna be able to put his merchandise or his name, which is really his best asset. He's not gonna be able to
nobody wants to, and nobody wants their name associated with him. And he's going to have to keep creating these different platforms, right? Because he just created the office of the former president. Where are they going to? And they released a little statement. It was up for like 2 seconds on MSNBC, but he can't get social media traction
First
that he
of
was
all,
getting before.
the office of the former president is another
grift.
affront and a grift to the entire system. We know we have one president at a time. When your time is up, you supposed to go sit down.
Yeah.
You supposed to go find a seat, take a seat.
I mean, Obama didn't.
Obama did for a long time.
Yeah,
Obama was quiet for about
like
2 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then finally, I mean, he just had to. And I still personally, though I love Barack Obama, don't think he stood up and was vocal as much as I wanted him to be.
I agree with that.
Which is why we end up with a lot of this anyway. So,
but I wanted to talk about another former Trump official because I schooled y'all. I hipped y'all to this game.
I can't believe this. I was like, this is crazy.
So Kellyanne Conway, the lady of alternative facts.
Yes.
So first, a couple of days ago, so P put up this headline that the police came to her house off some child abuse claims. So if you don't know nothing about the Conway family, some people in the chat earlier were talking about why does George Conway get escape? You know, George Conway is Kellyanne Conway's husband. He been speaking out on Trump a little bit here and there. Well, not a little bit, a lot.
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? But like, his wife is working for the administration, so he gets escaped. But now Kellyanne got that stink on her. Now she has this scandal, and then this happened overnight. The second headline, where basically she committed an act of revenge porn against her own daughter, posting topless photos of a 16-year-old girl on Twitter, and I mean. Like, is this is this karma shit, or is this just like these people have put themselves in the limelight and all this evil and shit that they put out in the world is coming back on them? Like, what, you know? You can look at it that existential type of way, but when you told me about this, the thing that I thought about was I saw a while ago they got a compilation video of all of the battles between her and her old girl. You feel me? And them things get progressively, like the last one I saw, her mom's was jumping bad at her. And I kind of feel mom, to a certain extent, Kellyanne being the mom. She's like, you in my house straight, you posting videos of me, you doing all this. The girl was recording their arguments and stuff. And so I can see this building, but that is in no way an excuse or a sanction to post naked pictures of your daughter or topless pictures of your daughter online. Like, what is that going to do? It's like a conspiracy theory that the girl posted them herself to get her mom in trouble. But I mean, if that's the household that you're in right now, that's the household. But like this, but I just think this is part of it. This is part of just
that's whooping worthy, man. She needs.
Oh, that's super whooping worthy. I don't care how old you are. That's whooping worthy. But that's a whole cultural different thing. You can't put nobody in timeout in that situation. Like, if you put topless pictures of yourself on the internet and said I did it as your parent, remember, like trying to call the child service, talking about you gonna call child services. That's on your worse parents? Than calling child services on your parents. You are sullying my name and besmirching my reputation. For sure. Oh, you getting tossed around? You trying to put me on the list, Shorty? My own kid? The sex offenders, people gonna be looking you up in the neighborhood. What?
So now I got to make a decision. What's better, the sex offenders list or the child abuse list?
Which one? Which one?
I'd rather
it's the child abuse.
The child abuse list is, you know.
Oh goodness! I'm not a Kellyanne fan, but if I did read afterwards that what you said is like that conspiracy theory is true that the daughter posted herself, and I read an article that Kellyanne Conway was arrested for punching her jit in the face. I wouldn't be mad at her. I have to say.
No.
That's punching a jit in the face.
That's why I believe in whoopings, and this is a different conversation also. But I believe that kids got to learn that there's things in life that you can do that earn you an ass whooping. And
well, you got to understand consequences,
right?
And that's what the whole episode is about, because there's really a lot of we saw that with the Trump administration, that even if folks understood that there were consequences, that there were guardrails, they were so inebriated off their privilege that they felt like these things don't apply to me. Yeah, Trump is the number one dude who's like, I'm gonna escape all consequences. Like, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? Try to imply anything on me, bro. That picture of Rudy Giuliani alone.
I know.
What are you doing, Rudy? Rudy, bro. I mean, does Rudy have siblings, bro? That what if you are Rudy Giuliani's brother or something? Like, but that's Rudy. How come nobody's talking to him? Like, you used to be America's mayor. But I'm telling you, that evil that they've been involved in, man, that shit ages you.
Kellyanne Conway out here looking like a fucking a troll under a bridge. She getting in fights with her daughter, posting revenge porn. Rudy Giuliani looks like he just escaped from a mental hospital. Sarah Huckabee Sanders been ugly. You know what I'm saying? Look at her. I mean,
sir,
looking like Ursula from fucking Little Mermaid.
She looked like there's an alien gonna pop her bottom cheek.
She got a jawline on her, don't she?
Yeah. In the world, we call that a quagmire. You know what I'm saying? She got that giggity giggity.
She do look like a Family Guy character.
Now, speaking of consequences, I feel as if Joe Biden is trying to make amends for some of the unintended consequences of his criminal justice stances in the 1990s. This week, if you saw, folks, Joe Biden signed a whole gang of executive orders, but he finally addressed some of the racial inequality issues that we have been talking about, especially on this show, and that we were hoping to see. And I must say, when I first heard about him, I was like, okay, he signed an executive order. Executive orders are temporary.
A bunch of lip service.
I thought it was going to be a lot of lip service. I thought that it was going to be because the executive orders are not real legislation. They can be changed when the next president comes in, unless we keep electing Democrats. And I thought about that earlier. Like, then essentially when executive orders possibly just become like de facto law. Yeah, you know what I mean? But anyway, the first one I wanted to talk about, this was an executive order that goes to the department that is in the under the purview of our good friend, being totally facetious, Ben Carson.
What happened to this?
Exactly.
That's another. Like, would you even let him perform surgery on you now?
Absolutely not.
Like, you can't even do a private
and I would not let you come. And you can't come to my school and talk to my students about nothing.
You can't come to career day.
You can't. No, B. You cannot come to career day, sir, because I don't. You've lost all credibility. But one of the part of the executive orders, and one of them is it goes towards HUD. And I think people forgot, and you could tell from the Trump administration, the fact that they just threw the black buddy over there, how much they don't really care or think that HUD is important. HUD is the housing of.
They really said, "Get your dumb ass."
Yes, over the HUD. Go over to HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I felt like he was just like hanging around. He was like, "What's?" His voice all.
This
shaky.
Boy be in the cabinet meetings. He's standing up in the corner making coffee around the Danishes while they talking business. Is there any more pecan roll left? The pecan roll.
Does anybody need cream? Does anybody need cream?
I wrote a book about being a neurosurgeon, and I'm a black man.
When we get to housing, I'm right here.
I always felt like Ben Carson's like, I push back in my mind against like his type of famous, which is like, I'm the exceptional, one of a kind black man. Like, ooh, I made it out.
Yeah.
But in the way that he always delivered that story, it never rubbed me correctly. Like in schools, people was going crazy when his book came out. Oh, you gotta have it. You gotta read it to the kids. My grandma made me read
that shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But then even when I read that book, I was kind of like, nigga, you seem a little.
Yeah, you seem iffy.
Yeah, a little wishy-washy. Cause like, if we both got in some trouble, I might be like,
yeah, you don't snitch.
Yeah, easy. You could tell that in the book.
He's just in the back of the class.
But anyway,
Chris is talking.
Exactly.
Chris, I can't concentrate.
If you don't shut up. That guy. One of the executive orders goes towards HUD, and it's an executive order to identify systemic disparities that exist in housing in the United States of America. And just an aside, against all departments, he put out all the departments in his administration have 100 days to get him a report. And the report is to have investigators look into their departments, identify inequality and disparities in hiring and all type of shit, get it back to him, changes that in and of itself is like a lip service thing. However, if it does 70% of what it's supposed to do, that's a huge deal. I grew up in South.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. Most of y'all know that. But do y'all remember there was a time where if there was a black dude in your neighborhood and he worked for the government, that nigga was like the most solid nigga on the block?
Well
Mhm.
yeah.
You know what I mean? The nigga who worked at the post office
government
or
job?
yes,
Yeah, the
exactly.
government job used to be the thing.
A government job used to
A
be
pension. What?
what? You feel me?
Benefits.
So when I hear that, and one of the parts of the executive orders was about hiring within the government, I always think the government, yeah, you owe black people, you got to hire black people. So when I heard that, that's the first thing that came to mind. That part of it was I would like to see that lead to more hiring of black people in the federal. Go ahead.
No, what and there's some other really good things. One of the things in his executive order about immediately not resigning any contracts for private prisons.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge criminal justice, because basically for profit prisons, you know, if the goal is to make a profit off of imprisonment, what's going to happen? They're going to send more niggas to jail. You know, at the end of the day, it's a criminal justice issue. There's other criminal justice reforms. But the fact that in his first 10 days, because we sat here on this show and said, one thing we want to see out of Biden is we came through for you, son.
Mm-hmm.
We was out here for you. Like, we need to see you do something for black folks on day one.
Stuff happen.
I mean, he waited until day 7. You know what I'm saying? But like, somebody was even talking about when Obama addressed private prisons. It wasn't until his second term.
Yeah.
The fact that Biden is doing it within his first 10 days, I think there is something about the crime bill. There's a guilty conscience there. But at the same time, you know what? The Clyburns, all these people that got his ass in office are holding his feet to the fire.
Well, listen to this line. Listen to this. This comes from USA Today. Biden's quote about it was, we need to make equity and justice part of what we do every day, today, tomorrow, and every day. Oh, that's a nice speech line. But in addition to directing the phase out of private prisons, Biden recommended the government to, recommitted the government to respecting tribal sovereignty. When the last time you heard about the United States of America respecting tribal sovereignty?
Every time he talks about tribes.
Now think about
it's wild. Like,
now, who else was part of that coalition that helped him get elected? It was well noted in Arizona and Nevada that the Native American populations out there came out and supported, right? Sovereignty directed agencies to mitigate racial bias in federal housing policies and to address xenophobia and violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. I'm like, dang, you just hit a lot of little boxes on these executive orders.
Off grip.
You got a couple big ones for us, and then you got something for the Native American population in the group, and then you also have some for the Asian Americans. And you know what I'm saying, to address xenophobia, what is that really? But when it comes to African Americans, I felt like some of these policies, these executive orders, could be the beginning of solid policy.
That's what I'm saying with this. It's like the fact that he addressed it so soon. Like, listen, I am not the biggest Biden fan. I think I voted for him because it's a lesser of two evils thing. I do believe
lesser of two.
I do believe. Yeah, I voted this time.
My God.
I do believe that I believe that inherently he is a decent person. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's a fucking angel. You know what I'm saying? I'm just waiting for these drone strikes to pick up.
Well, he's not an angel, but to that point, I wrote this in my water cooler talk last week. He is almost a pragmatist at his fault. One of his biggest faults is that he's a pragmatist. The crime bill was a compromise to get an assault rifles ban and to get some other things that were generally considered decent. The busing situation when he was talking about Kamala Harris, that was a compromise. My fear with Biden is that he is so magnanimous and so practical that he would be willing to compromise with the people we spoke about in the first segment who have lost all credibility.
Yes. Listen, I think he's given them lip service, right? I think this is my own personal belief. I think he's out there being like, I am the president for all people. Republicans and Democrats, because he loves to say Republicans and Democrats are dying from COVID, which is motherfucking true. Yeah. Right. And I think he does that to continue to, to let people know I'm going to be the president for all people. But then when you watch your man Chuck Schumer on the side, like that's his little, that's the voice on the side talking about, fuck the filibuster. We about to do this. We about to do that. Mitch McConnell don't run the Senate no more. Like he over here talking crazy.
You brought Mitch McConnell. This is what I wanted to get to in the first part.
I'm gonna let you go real quick, and I'm gonna finish up because we got to get off this politics.
Okay, got to. But this will be a good transition off of the politics, right?
The politics.
Have you ever noticed that Rudy Giuliani and Mitch McConnell both have showed up at very public situations?
Look at beat the fuck up.
Yes, right. What is going on with that?
I want to find
they
that
defeated,
picture.
bro. They
No.
deflated, man.
I mean, are these dudes paying dominatrixes? That's what I'm thinking. I mean, Mitch McConnell showed up at a press conference earlier in the year. I mean, his face, black and blue. His hand was bruised. I'm like, are you in a fight club, old man? What's going on? Then you see Rudy Giuliani.
I want to be part of that Mitch McConnell.
Oh, we got to show. All right, we're gonna show a couple more Rudy Giuliani pics because we just got to see this.
Now, I mean, come on, Rudy. Rudy always looked like right before this he was in the worst situation of his life.
Penguin reference was great, man.
Yeah,
like
he looks. He's pretty disgusting.
He's gonna be living in the sewers pretty soon, man.
Now,
plotting against Batman and shit.
Rudy Giuliani has, like we mentioned earlier, Rudy Giuliani has his own podcast. That's where he finally acknowledged that Joe Biden is president and all of that.
Why wouldn't you carry napkins
Right.
with you? You know what I'm saying? Like you know your shit runs, man. Why get some?
Do you remember them dudes in college? There was always somebody in college, like a fella who was walking around with like a washcloth in his back pocket, hanging out, or like one of them like hand towels.
I always respect that. You know, nigga.
You know.
Them outdoor parties, you be.
I used to think it was kind of tacky with the fit, and then you see it do when he got like the color coordinated towel. I'm like,
I hit 32.
nigga, you are not a cornerback, a linebacker, or like, you know what I'm saying? Why are you carrying a towel?
I'm 36 now, but when I hit 32, I don't know what the fuck. I started sweating. I'm like, man, them niggas knew what's up with them towels, man. Like, ain't nothing. Yeah.
So
no, I used to rock the towel, but y'all know I'm a sweaty ass. I'm fat dude.
Yeah,
so we sweat.
We don't want to hear
them outdoor pool parties, bro. In college,
but a towel is appropriate at an outdoor pool party. I'm talking about.
You be going to the club and
anywhere, and you got a white towel or a color coordinated towel hanging out your back pocket. You know what I mean? I'm like, I guess. Practical fashion,
wipe up, bro. You need better. It's better.
You gotta wipe up.
Better than dripping all over the set, bro. I know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's nowhere else.
There you go.
There's
Look at the screen right there.
Yes. Buddy. Oh my gosh, what is wrong? What happened to this man?
No, I gotta move the batter so you see his hands.
But I also want to know, like all of the people who saw him before he went up there. Everybody was just like, "Hey, all right, yep. Keep going. How you doing, Mitch?"
Bro,
nobody said, "Damn, man,"
because he looked okay in like 3 days.
But his hands are fucked up. Look at his hands.
Yo, look at his hands. He just did take a sick day, man.
Where you went up?
Old white people bruise funny though. Y'all know like, they bruise like old peaches, bro.
P got the most quietly racist lines on this show. People sometimes come at me and you for being. This man just said, "What'd you call him?" He said he got what?
I said white people when they age. They bruise easily. Oh, I mean, old people in general bruise easily.
But you said something else. They look like what?
Like old peaches. You know, peaches bruise easy. No, y'all get that reference, man. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That's racist. That's not racist.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's nowhere else in the world where a conversation about Rudy Giuliani and his consequences can devolve into the generalization of old white people looking like bruised peaches sometimes.
That's the ugliest fucking peach I ever seen in my life.
Now that can only happen. This only happens. You will only get this conversation on a podcast such as this. So
the next topic. People want to get off of this. So the next topic was
moving on. Yeah.
We finished Biden's plan for Black America. Let's move on. We touched on that a little bit. We really didn't get into the.
I was gonna say, actually, I'm gonna wrap this. I think I can wrap it up nice and neat because I think Biden thought about it. I think he represents the growth of America. Because Biden, if you look at his political career, you talk about the bills he passed back in the 90s and things like that, and what he's trying to do and make up for now.
Make amends. You got to give it to him for trying to make.
I appreciate it.
A lot of people just stick to their fucking guns.
Let's hit these other two things before we move on.
Because in addition
to housing and urban development, in addition to rooting out systemic disparities within the federal government itself and the different departments, and phasing out federal support for private prisons, he also reestablished a commission that will look into police shootings so that we don't have to sit around for days and days and days and wait while it's like
district attorney
there will be under this executive order a federal commission that will look at those things directly, which is a huge deal. Also, reinstated the ban on the military selling old equipment to police.
That was the demilitarization of the police force, which is akin to defunding the police.
Low key,
it's not exactly defunding, but it's part of defunding the police. Listen, I'm not like I said, I'm not the biggest Biden fan, but what I will say is this: it's a promising start. You know, some of the things like he's done with that COVID relief plan, is very robust. The fact that you can still get unemployment. Let's say you left the job because you didn't, like, you're a teacher and they wanted you to go back to school and you said, I don't feel comfortable in the school. There's a provision in his plan that says you can still collect unemployment even though you technically resigned. Like that. Those are important fucking things. You can't have people working in unsafe situations because they're afraid that they can't pay their bills. So there are a lot of positives. There are some things, you know, where the black man he elected to the defense secretary, I think, was on the board for a company that sold weapons to the military. We backing that shit. I mean, not back. We still doing that kind of stuff. But listen, that's part of politics.
That's part of politics. But now let's go to our third topic. You know,
we're gonna do what. We still going to talk about? I did want to run the Budweiser Super Bowl ad.
Oh, run it!
Because what I find, one of the things we wanted to talk about, I don't know if we're going to get to it today, is that our consumption of sports, TV, entertainment has changed during COVID, right? And this is the first time ever Budweiser is not going to do a Super Bowl ad, and they create an ad kind of explaining why. If I can.
The thing about America is we can do anything. We can turn rooftops into mountaintops. We can turn boundaries into common ground. We can turn solitude into closeness. And screen time into playtime. Silent stadiums, let them hear the roar of history being written. We turn waiting and waiting and waiting into dancing and dancing and whatever that is. And together, let's turn our strength into hope.
All right, so that was that's definitely one of the topics. I can't believe I forgot it, let it slide away like that. But the Super Bowl, COVID-19, we were talking before the show about how COVID and all that has really impacted our sports watching. For example, I'm usually a big time sports fan, and I think this is a little counterintuitive. But I was wondering for a while, like, you know, I didn't know who the Heisman Trophy winner was. Like, I had heard about it a little bit, heard about the kids some, but I can't say I was really paying too much attention. I think it somehow is related to COVID. And I'm wondering if, and that's kind of like our lead into what we got going on to our next topic, is the way that COVID and everything to do with politics in this crazy last year and a half has impacted the way we consume information, has changed the way that we are fans.
You know what's funny? I had no idea that Tom Brady was about to get another Super Bowl.
And when you told me that, I was like, how is that
legit possible? Just have not paid attention to football all season.
How is that the
Part
case?
of the problem is the Giants suck.
And so because of that, then you just haven't been watching.
Yeah, even sports? Like I got like second place in my fantasy football or third place in my fantasy football league, and I was just whatever ESPN said was was the right way to go.
But how can you base your watching football less on COVID? Is there a way to make the connection?
I think what happened is that just the whole everything about my life is just different. So I spend Monday through Friday working from home. So on a Sunday afternoon, you know when the last thing I want to do is sit in my house all fucking day watching football. That used to be my like Sundays used to be my day where I was just like vegging out like the entire time, just from noon to like 8 o'clock, just watching football.
Yeah.
Now it's like I don't want to spend my whole day in the house. Like I'm like those are the days I get out, like I do go to the beach or something. So
different. You're not watching football on just some more practical use of time.
Yeah, like I spend too much time in the house to be sitting in the house all day.
And that's very similar. That's why I didn't watch much college football. And another part of it to me is just, and then this I haven't really watched as crazy amounts of NBA as I usually do. Usually because I'm like everybody ain't playing. Who's sitting out? Who is playing? Games get postponed.
I'm watching more just because I'm at home.
Really, you are?
Yeah. Because I'm usually gone during the season a lot, if normal.
Yeah.
So but it's not. I understand what y'all are saying though. It's just stuff going on. It's not as.
But that's how I want to transition into our next segment here, is because I think one of the effects of COVID and people being at home and all that is the growth of the podcast game and industry and all of that. We have a couple of people here with us, a couple of guests who are going to join with us. And because we've been talking about this since this podcast started several years ago, we've been talking about how Black culture, if given an opportunity, a platform, will continue to grow and eventually become the dominant culture in the country. And we've been talking about that multiple times. Our podcast, if you've been following us for a while, you have listened to us when we were recording in a friend of ours' back room. Till now, we're trying to run live productions here, right? But this is nothing new because with COVID, with people being home, with the access to technology, we've seen a tremendous growth in creativity and content creation, right? Earlier in the show, we were talking about consequences from content creation that attempted to tear the country apart. Podcasts, blogs, right-wing websites, all passing out disinformation. But what happens then if we don't look at it from that negative? There's always another side to it. When we have people who are trying to create content designed to entertain, but also designed to provide different alternatives, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to introduce our first.
You got to wait 1 second because we're trying to fix the sound situation. So we have 3 guests from 2 different podcasts.
Yes.
2 different content, 2 different sources of content creation. First, introduce your man from Marley Minded TV.
So our first guest is a friend of mine. His name is James Goob Marley. I've known Goob forever. High school days, really good friends with his cousin Ryan. This is Ryan's cousin.
Oh, that's his cousin?
Yes, this is Ryan's cousin. My dog Ryan 80 Evans. If you listen to this, what's up, bro? But I wanted to talk to Goob because he's approaching the content creation thing in a way that I think is interesting. He's building out a channel. And there was a time, I went to school for journalism and all that stuff at FAM. And there was a time where to do what we're doing right now, I thought I would have had to been on a radio station. I thought I would have had to have, more of an in. But you can do almost whatever you want. And so I wanted to talk to him about that. So let's go ahead and bring Goob on. What's up, Goob? What's happening, bro? So do me.
I was backstage. I was making sure I didn't make a disturbance. Good evening, everybody. I am Goob Marley, a.k.a. Young Goob the God. Thank you for having me on the Light Skin Opinion Podcast. I'm a big fan, big fan. Give me some sound. I don't have any sound, fellas. My sound went away as soon as I unmuted my mic. Let's. You should be able to hear me now. Oh,
all right. We're trying to figure this out, man. You guys got to work with us because this is our first time having guests on. We try to figure this out. Goob, what you got to do is go to your settings at the bottom, the cam and the mic, and make sure that your speakers are coming through wherever you have your headphones attached to. But before we get back to Goob, we are going to go to Imman and Sandie from the Dishes and Dimes podcast. These are good friends of mine from Twitter. Unfortunately, this is a Raptors podcast. And I'm a Heat podcaster. So this is the enemy. We're dealing with the enemy right now, but they're good people. They're good folks. And these are two Black women and part of an all-woman podcast that they're doing big things right now. So we're going to bring them in.
Hey, guys.
They can. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. We got it.
All right, we good.
I can't hear them though.
You can't hear shit because you're not plugged in right now.
Oh yeah, you should probably plug me in.
Yeah.
We're figuring this out live. We're trying to do some things here.
I mean, we really trying to do some things.
Oh, I can hear now. So, okay, Sandie, Imman, go ahead, introduce yourselves to the people. Tell them what you're doing, what you guys are doing at Dishes and Dimes.
So, like Alf said, we're a Raptors podcast, part of the Basketball News Network. And we are a group of women, very opinionated, smart, funny women who talk NBA and Raptors. We really love the podcast, and we are the enemy, but Elf's good people. He's great on Twitter, such a great personality, hilarious, and he's been supportive from day one. So it's great to be on the podcast. Thanks for inviting us.
No problem.
Imman, go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm echoing everything Sandie said, except for us being the enemy. I feel like they stole Chris Bosh from us, not the other way around. No, everything she said, a host of Dishes and Dimes, an all women's podcast. I also just started a morning live show. So I'm, trying to do the live thing like you guys are doing right now. It's difficult.
It is very difficult. Let me tell you.
It's difficult. It definitely has its challenges. Trying to do that daily as well to bring some basketball news in the morning.
Goob, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Right, there we go.
Look,
okay.
we got the whole. Look, we figured it out live.
Hey,
I feel like I walked away for like 2 seconds and she went crazy.
Y'all don't know. Oh my
Y'all did
God.
good. Y'all did good.
Yeah, we hustling over here. So what we wanted to talk about was just kind of like the motivation.
Did Goob even introduce himself at all?
No, he did. I think he did. Goob, you got the chance to say. Goob, go ahead and tell us about Marley TV. Go ahead.
All right. Well, my name is officially James Bevel. I go by Goob Marley on this whole digital platform. Marley Minded TV is, like you say, an opportunity for us as a community to express ourselves. We didn't have these capabilities 20 years ago when we were in Tally. Let it been known that we had this, then it would have been a whole nother world now. So I think this, the ability for you guys to be able to do this, for me to do what I've been trying to do, what the young ladies are doing, what they are doing, is, like you say, a result of the concentration of everybody being in one place and seeing that they had to create the future. It was technology for them to create the future. Marley Minded TV is a platform to express myself, express the experiences that I've had with people on this screen, people in throughout the life. Shout out to 88. He's watching.
Yeah,
you know, and just telling those stories, giving ourselves a platform to do what we do, and that's all it's about, man. Having some fun.
So, Imman, how did you all get started? Because that's the part where we wanted to talk about, were the motivations behind saying, you know what, I have a voice. There's value to it, and I feel as if I have something to contribute to a greater conversation. Because that's really what all of us are doing here. What was the trigger that said, you know what, let me get some of my people together. Let me see if we can take our shot at it.
That's actually probably a better question for Sandie, because she's the one who created Dishes and Dimes. It's something that I, podcasting and writing is something that I have always wanted to get into. I haven't even started really the writing part of it, but honestly, with Sandie. So can we throw that to her? I'd like to get her to answer that one.
For sure.
Yeah, no, pretty much it was just a random thought. I put the tweet out there. To be honest, I'm just tired of listening to men talk about things that women could talk about. And to be honest, Raptors Twitter is full of like really intelligent, hilarious women. And I think we run Raptors Twitter. So it just really made sense for us to have our own podcast. And so I just put the idea out there. People seem to really love it. They said they would support. I was like, okay, you guys say you're about it. I'm actually going to do it. And I reached out. I was very intentional about who I reached out to, because I'm fans of everybody that I reached out to, and they already did great work. They're always talking about the Raptors, very intelligent. So I reached out to people like Imman, and thankfully they said yes, and we just put it together and put out an episode.
Now,
we didn't know what would come of it, but. Yeah.
So we've talked on this podcast a lot about this idea of trying to capitalize off our own content.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go like around the panel here. We'll start with you, Goob, and then we'll move around clockwise. How much of it, when you got into it, was a matter of this looking as if it was an opportunity to build a revenue stream, or is it so much just like, we just want to talk and we just want to have an opportunity to be a part of the conversation? Or is it hey, look, here's a definitive way to where I can enter an industry that previously I was excluded from, if that makes sense, the question. We'll start with you.
I understand the question. I would say it's a combination of all three, honestly, because it's an industry that we wouldn't have had the ability to broadcast from your bedroom or from your dining room, so to speak. 20 years ago, or when I was younger, everything that I saw on television were, you thought if you came on TV, you thought those people were special. That got them on TV, but they were people just like you and I. They just had the ability to broadcast. So now that the ability to broadcast has been exponentially just given out to the people, I feel like because we weren't there and we have something to say, I want us to start saying it, start giving those stories that we grew up on, just the way to do it. And yes, you can make money from it. Hopefully we make money from it. But in the mid, like from right now, it's like, just start putting it out there, get funky with it. Just try to let loose every time you get on, be yourself, and it'll start to move from there. The money comes just like everything else you do.
All right, Imman.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that as well. I think for us, and Sandie touched on it there too, a lot of it is being online and seeing a lot of your same ideas just being put into print or being said, and you're like, I'm already providing this content. It's on my feed all the time. And I think that's what a lot of us did, is realize we are putting content constantly out there. We're just not capitalizing off of it ourselves. We're not saying it on a larger platform ourselves. And we're getting other people using our same words, using our same jokes, using our same lingo, using our same whatever it is to then capitalize off of it. Why don't we just create a platform for ourselves to do exactly what they're doing with our content anyway?
So you're saying Bleacher Report has stolen your tweets too?
Oh, Bleacher Report, ESPN just stole my tweet last week about Kyrie Irving. Like it's constant.
Sandie,
so
go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's constant. Like it's like literally a thing. So yeah, why not capitalize off of it yourself?
I saw your face when she said people stealing your jokes. What's behind it? Why'd you respond in that way? I feel like there's something.
It happens all the time. Like it will be Reddit, or like one of the beat writers will tweet something, or one of the popular boys on Raptors Twitter will tweet something that you previously put out there.
A major publication.
Major publication. Like it happens all the time. And they were both saying, it's really important for us to put our own voices out there and to make sure that people know that this content's coming from us. It's funny and it's interesting and you connect with it because it's coming from Black voices, right? So it's just really important. I think it's really important for us to just put our content out there, even if you don't think there's an audience for it. Believe me, there's an audience for it. And
that's the next thing I wanted to. Go ahead, Goob. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna piggyback off of what Goob said for a second ago. Just 20 years ago, this wasn't possible. I look at what's happening to TV and just production is kind of what happened to like the music industry 15, 20 years ago. It's just more. It's easily accessible. It's more affordable for people to do. Like everybody knows somebody, at least 4 or 5 people now that make music in their home, in their room, in their bathroom.
I mean, we could figure it out. Shit.
Yeah. So now we out here making TV in our bathroom, in our garages.
So that's the next thing that I wanted to go to, was because whenever you tell someone, and Goob, I'll let you go. We'll pick up with you on this answer first. Whenever you tell someone, hey, look, I got a podcast, the response is one of two things. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Or, damn, everybody got a podcast. Like that kind of like, oh, you trying to do it too. So my question to the panel kind of is, how do you deal with that? Sandie kind of mentioned that, you put out your content, it's your ideas, but how do you like push through when people are like, yo, everybody got a podcast?
I tell them to shut the fuck up personally.
Overcover rashes, I don't care what you think.
Don't do that.
Y'all know me. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Watch Hangover Time at the buzzer after every Heat game.
He tells them everyone has one, and so do we. So support ours.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm from Carver Ranches. I don't care what people think. I'm gonna do what I do. I don't wake up in the morning thinking about what other people gonna think about what I do. It's too many people on this planet to try to satisfy all of those opinions. So I just go with the one that resonates the most. The one inside here. So this one told me to go buy a mixer. This one told me to get a mic. This opinion told me to do everything that I wanted to do, and I just did it. I really don't look for other people's approval in order to do what I want to do. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I just really.
What happened?
Oh no!
What happened?
His connection. Sure.
Oh no!
We had to work. We got to work on our man's connection right there.
Goob, you sound like you was talking from Cybertron for a second.
He's got that. What's that? Living with AT&T. He's living with AT&T right now.
Imman and Sandie, any one of you guys, y'all want to pick it up right quick? Go
ahead.
Like, in terms of how do you push through that, especially with you guys, I'm wondering if it's like, girls.
It's different. Goob's back.
Who's back?
I'll stay in the circle. I'm used to pass it to the left.
All right, Sandie, you're next then.
Oh, I'm next?
Oh, wait, is it?
Go ahead.
Anybody can pick it up.
So, it's in all honesty, I think it's different for us as women because what we're doing, there aren't a lot of women voices. There aren't particularly a lot of Black women voices, especially. And there's just a lot of gatekeeping in the sports world and sports media specifically. So podcasts are an avenue for people that look like me and Sandie, because we can just create our own platform without waiting for someone to give it to us. So I do think it's a little bit different because there aren't that many women sports podcasts that it's always like, oh, interesting, as opposed to like another one. And also, like, anyone who knows me just wants me to shut up about the Raptors. So the fact that I have a podcast so that I don't have to bore them, I think helps with my friendships, at least.
Straight up.
One of my questions is, we're out here. We're doing these shows. You know, I do my hangover time with Miami Heat Beat. You guys do Dishes and Dimes. You got Marley Minded TV, Light Skin Opinions. I still feel like we're getting to the point where the end game is that some big white company picks us up and pays us for it. Like, when does that change? Like, I feel like with Miami Heat Beat, we're sitting there, you know, maybe The Athletic or, you know, maybe Bleacher Report. You know, we're still waiting for someone else to legitimize us. No matter how popular we get, like Jesus and Mero had to get picked up by whatever that weird channel.
It's the same Cash Money No Limit model. You can get popping as much as you want, but eventually
you're gonna have to sign with Universal. You're gonna have to
partner with a larger company for distribution and all of that. Now, that is a valid question. I'm glad you brought that up. Where do you all stand on that? Is your content, and it's what you want to do? You know, Charlemagne.
Chris is asking, will you ever sell out?
That's what I'm. But I don't want to phrase it like that, because Charlemagne has his own network now. You got people like 85 South Show. They signed up there with Charlemagne. Kev on Stage. If y'all follow Kev on Stage, he's got his own app and he's doing his trying to, you know. But where do you guys stand on that? Yeah, I don't want to say sell out, but is it even still
selling out? Like, what is
out?
it? Like, what? Like, you know, what is the end game at this point?
I can answer that for us.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Maybe not the end game. I just want some sponsorships. I want to get paid sponsor wise. If you get people to support you, you don't have to sell out. You get enough white companies, because I think until we get black owners, because I mean Oprah just sold her network, you know what I mean? But so it's like that was one down. I mean, I know Puffy's got Revolt, but it's like how many different black I guess
Russell
companies
was
could
the
we
first
go
Russell
to?
Simmons when he sold Def Jam and all of those. So I get it. And I do agree with you. Let's go. Anybody on the panel, y'all can answer. Where do y'all stand on that? What's the end game with your podcast situation?
I mean, for me personally, we're fairly new, so we're still trying to figure out exactly where we stand. A lot of us have already been either like beat writers or doing different things within kind of media. So I think everybody's end game is slightly different, but for the podcast itself, I'm not against selling. Like, I have bills to pay, so
straight up,
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't mind necessarily selling out as long as we have control over the content and we are able to tell the stories the way that we want to tell them, and things aren't being dictated to us. So I do have standards that I don't mind selling out because I need the bag, but we do have.
Is it considered selling out though? Is that because that has such a negative connotation? Do you really consider it selling out? Or are we just using that term like as like a placeholder because we don't have nothing else to call it right now?
I don't know. It's tough because
Are you compromising some of what you're saying? Are you compromising some of your content for the sake of the bag? Because isn't that technically what selling out is?
Right.
That is exactly what it is. That's a good. So we'll work with that working definition. Go ahead, Gul.
I feel like if you go at it more of a partnership, more than giving ownership, more like we're trying to fight being like the old school music artists of signing your music away and they just making money for thousands of years on your music, and you like you're still broke. To partner with these major companies so that they can support the efforts that you're doing is what really I think my goal is. It's like, I'm not giving it to you. You can help me produce it, and then we take a cut of what gets produced under your production dollars, but I'm not here to really give it to you. Like, I'm not a rich man, but I'm not here to get your money. I can go get this money out the streets any way I so choose. Once again, I think my mic got messed up. I got Cybertroned earlier, but I'm from Carverantes. I'm not here to just give you what you want just because you want it. So I feel that I can stay independent as long as I want to. I don't have to like that. I'm not leaning on this to support me. I would love for it to support me and float me and take me to another realm, of course. But in the meantime, create stuff that you like, have fun, and everything else is going to come from it. That's
I'm with that. I'm with creating stuff that you like and
be smart about your business.
For sure. And I think people will find it. People who like it will find it. And when people like it and find it, then sponsorships will come. So it's just a matter of putting the work in without having to do that. I don't like when we first started, we got an email from this, like, I don't know, new radio thing that was starting some satellite radio thing. And I went into the meeting and they were like, there was probably 20, it was a bunch of different teams. They wanted to do like kind of a locked on thing where they were going to have different sports. And one of the things that they said was no politics, because that's going to alienate half of your fan base. And I was like, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I literally left the meeting right after,
Yeah.
because like that's not something that like any of us at Dishes and Dimes stand for. We're opinionated, and we're not just opinionated about basketball. We're opinionated about things that go on in our world, especially as Black women here. So yeah, there was not going to be any of that. So they were like, you know, you get into politics, you're going to alienate 50% of your, you know, your possible listenership. And I was like, okay, I don't care.
We had our first real kind of fork in the road moment when we had Boris Sanchez on. And
Boris Sanchez from CNN, yeah.
Boris Sanchez from CNN.
Flex.
And there is a humble flex slightly, but you know, but we had to, there was a conversation that had to be had, you know, because Boris Sanchez is one of their properties or assets, however you want to phrase it. But I think the way that we approached it, we had our conversation, we said, look, we're not going to curse as crazy as we usually curse.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tone down some of the casual, chauvinism, reverse racism. You know, a lot of what we do is just talk how people talk. You know, and so we did have to have a conversation about how much are we willing to moderate that.
Yeah.
To make sure that we have Boris on.
Well, I'm gonna like my path. It went from just doing Heat Beat off of a Kindle in my back room to being on 790 The Ticket, and literally like being censored multiple times by the Miami Heat, and then going back to then getting off of that radio shit, and then like I got censored because I said Goran Dragic speaks broken English, and I got. The Heat came down heavy on the station because I said that on air. Like, this nigga speaking perfect fucking English. Like, come on.
Those casual isms that we just mentioned, that's one of them.
Yes. I was out there just speaking, you know, and I was I didn't curse. That's all I said. And then, you know, even when I was with 5 Reasons, and much respect to 5 Reasons, Ethan is the first person that gave us a platform, a larger platform, and told us, don't ever censor yourself. Say whatever the fuck you feel like. But when I was on 5 on the floor, I had to watch what I said.
Because the Miami Heat, when we went and we did media day that time, the Miami Heat was like, hey, look, like these media passes are contingent. You know what I mean? Like,
but I had to make a decision for myself. Yeah. Do I still want that access that comes with being part of 5 Reasons Sports, or do I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do? Yeah. And listen, there are people that can't make that decision. This is not my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a job. Like, this shit is just, I do this shit for fun. But there are some people out there who have to make that conscious decision every day. So I think the good thing for, I think, all the people on this panel is this isn't our main source of income. I don't think for any of us. So we are able to, and this is one of the things they don't want, is for us to have the freedom to say, fuck you, we're going to do whatever we want to do, because we're not beholden to your paycheck. But I think we still, at the end of the day, would like to make a little bread off this shit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anybody jump in.
Oh, just to the point of not being beholden and doing what you want. You learn how to play the game. You go play where the referees are calling fouls real tough. If they not letting you put the body on them, then you know that you can't put the body on them as much if you still want to win. So if you want to win, like, you have to make adjustments, like every good coach, like every good player. You have to see the landscape that you plan on, play your game on that landscape, but don't get caught up of, they calling everything that go to the basket, so I can't go to the basket. I can't be me. No, you go to the basket the best that you can under those circumstances. And if you are artist, you look at the laws and then you start to manipulate it, and then you're the artist. Bing, bang, there
and
go.
That's kind of one of the themes of our podcast from when we started it, was the idea basically that it's all a game that's being played, and there's a couple of ways that you can play it. There's always, as a minority living in the Western Hemisphere, you're going to essentially always have to make a decision to play the game. These are the rules of the game. How far am I willing to go to like achieve what I want to achieve? What I like to see now, though, is the proliferation of these new platforms. I love to see what we're doing, because the more of us do it, the more we tilt the scale, you know what I mean, away from conglomerates and corporations being the sole arbiters of what's fresh, what's raw, and what people want.
Well, what I'll tell you, and it's Sandie and Imman, for us being in the sports atmosphere, right? We are providing people with a different, you know, you don't have to go listen to Greeny on ESPN, right? You have so many alternatives now. I have thousands of people every night watching my post-game show instead of Fox Sports, right? And then you have me, you have 5 Reasons Sports. We're giving people all this, you know, these different options. So like Sandie, Imman, like, how do you feel about the fact that you're providing a different, like, you're giving people who are just tired of the regular rigmarole, like, right? You're giving them a different option every day to, you know, to talk about the Raptors or to talk about basketball from a female, a black female, and I mean, it's not just black females on this podcast, black woman's point of view.
Yeah, no, I think Raptors media is very different than Miami Heat, just because we're in Canada, and so our major networks don't cater to basketball in any way, shape, or form. So all of the content has already just been online. So it has been different. It's not the same. Nobody's tuning in to a major TV channel after a Raptors game if they're a fan to watch that highlights, because they're probably going to be talking about hockey anyway. So it is a little bit different in Canada, but we're different in that we're women, and all of the content online is male, and it's white, predominantly at least 80-90% white. So so our content is different because we're not saying the same thing as them. So they do have a different avenue, and we have, I think, a different chemistry amongst us. You're not just listening to Dishes and Dimes to hear about the game. I think there's a personality and a friendship that we all kind of share with each other that blends in. So I think for fans, I'm hoping it's a refresher, because like Sandie said, if you look online, I think the best content producers were always women, at least on our end, like on Raptors Twitter side, the best content producers have always been women. So our voices being on the highest podcast stage was necessary, and that's why Dishes and Dimes came together, because we see ourselves being represented everywhere except in places where we can monetize it and bring it out onto a broader stage. So for us, it's really just beating out the other blog boys and other podcasters as opposed to the major networks.
So y'all feel like y'all are in a legit competition in a way?
Not at all. We're all literally all friends with each other.
Other blogs.
No, with other blogs. Like, we're literally all friends with each other. Yeah, we're all friends. Like, we all have multiple cross.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice.
In this whole segment,
like, Katie has a podcast with Sean, who does a Raptors podcast with Locked On.
And all of them, like,
we all do Yahoo stuff with Will. We're literally all friends that do pods with each other. I was kidding.
A couple things that I picked up in hearing you all talk, that if you could answer really, really quickly. First, there's a huge difference between America and Canada, which you get all the time, and we laugh about it. But in this conversation, it's highlighted just in even
like, I love Ethan, but I want to crush his ass.
Exactly. Like, you know, competition is kind of bred into the American psyche. You know what I'm saying? Like, you heard Goob reference it earlier. What's the little saying, Goob? In Carver Ranches, people take chances, or something to that effect. Like,
Carver Ranch, where they take chances.
There's always in America, there's always like that push to kind of like, okay. But aside from that,
we compete for healthcare out here.
We compete for everything here.
Everything out here.
But I was wondering,
nigga, that's my insulin shot. Fuck you doing?
Is it because we're women as well? Could it just be that?
That's what how did you all get that? That's definitely a part of it. But then also, like, how did you end up basketball fans in the land of hockey? Like,
We're black.
We're black.
It's as simple as that, huh?
No, but it really is as simple as that, because Toronto specifically, like the demographics, if you look at NBA players right now that are Canadian, I think it's the second most after America. They're all black, predominantly the children of first generation immigrants from somewhere in the Caribbean, which is there are a lot of Haitians in like Montreal specifically. Toronto has a lot of Jamaicans and Trinidad, Tobago. I'm from Ethiopia and Somalia. Lots here.
Yeah,
you're from from Ghana. Lots there. Nigeria. Lots. So all like black people in Toronto are first generation immigrants predominantly, and our parents came somewhere in the 80s, 90s, possibly 2000s, and gave birth to us, and we grew up with Vince Carter. It's really that simple, that like when we came to be, the Raptors came to be, and we chose that over hockey because we're black and we grew up in the inner city. Hockey's expensive.
And it's racist. Hockey's racist as fuck too. So
y'all
it's a very racist culture for sure. Yeah. So it's like it's all of a mix of everything where and I was talking to G about this, but he was speaking about Miami Heat and how a lot of, Latin America comes to Miami, and basketball was what they gravitated towards specifically because of D Wade. For us, it was specifically because of Vince Carter. Matt Sandine, I have no relation to him. Yeah. It was Vince Carter for me always. And I think it was like that for every black kid in Toronto. And now we're at the age where we can finally produce content. So like the higher ups that work for TV and radio, they're finally getting it. But they didn't for the longest, which is why all of the basketball content in Canada is online, because it's all made by 20 somethings, just, who love basketball.
That 2000 dunk contest was amazing. Boy.
And I love Vince Carter. They've made documentaries about the impact Vince Carter had. North of the border. I've seen I think there's a 30 for 34. Yeah. But I'm telling you, in Google, yes, the Carter effect. My favorite Raptor of all time though is Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite Toronto Raptor
Tracy
of all
McGrady
time.
was mine.
And I feel like as I'm hearing them talk about I feel like I'm dating myself. Like,
he's the one
you're dating yourself.
I did not watch because I just
watching for a lot of time. T-Mac did a lot of bench riding in Toronto.
Yeah, he did. He was in that dunk contest. He was the one throwing all those assists.
Yeah, he was.
He participated in that contest as well.
Yeah. He low-key had the best dunk in that contest. Tracy
McGrady, teammate.
But the overall performance from Vince Carter is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, because he put
yeah. Actually, maybe Aaron Gordon when he lost to Zach LaVine.
Well, that was
which was light skin on light skin crime, and I wasn't really.
It also happened in Toronto.
And if it happened to you, it just don't feel the same if it's so recent. You got to let it date a little bit.
Yes, yeah. I feel
That's true.
No,
but can I ask you guys as Heat fans, DJJ stole that from AG last year, correct?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No. Let's be real about this.
Come on.
Listen, D Wade did what he's supposed to do, bro.
No.
D Wade did what he's supposed to do.
What he did at Taco Fall is sexual assault in most states.
However,
like that, to catapult off of a guy and rub your nuts on the back of his head ain't a hot dunk to me. Like, I'm sorry.
But the dude was 7'6".
It was not.
Don't dunk over him.
Here's the
find you a 7'1" nigga that you can really dunk over. Like, you can't just catapult over somebody and then rub your nuts on their head.
No.
That might be valid, but only
Taco Fall got grounds for charges.
Here's the only concession I'll make. DJJ basically did the same dunk in different ways. It was between the legs, tomahawk, all of it. You know what I'm saying? So now they were impressive.
It's okay.
They were impressive.
If you didn't want Dwayne Wade to be biased, you shouldn't have had Dwayne Wade be on the panel.
But I still don't think I don't think Aaron Gordon won that shit though.
I wouldn't have gave it. DJJ, in my opinion, won the dunk contest just because he did those dunks funkier. Like, I'm not gonna be like it's somebody who used to dunk on a lot of people, but for somebody who has dunked on hundreds of people, and I'm saying it live on there so I could be
hundreds of people, Goob. Hundreds.
I'm in the triple digits.
You was yamming on hundreds of people, bro?
Google it. If you know me, find out. You find out.
Hey.
Have cameras back then, but you got banged on every time we went to the park. But I digress.
Yeah, so go ahead.
He's not even on the
There's a goal in Lauderhill somewhere that's like, man, that nigga go. Tell you some stories.
I used to go to people's parties just to break the goal in their neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
But DJJ was just funkier with it. Aaron Gordon did the dunk. It's very standard, not much flair to it. DJJ, the left hand, even though it was the same dunk with variations repeatedly. I think every dunk, maybe other than one, was the same dunk repeatedly. He was just funkier with it. That's all it is to it.
He was banging them
a little bit of funk to it. Yeah. It was.
Yeah. He was on his Dominique shit a little bit.
No, he got it.
Well, no, I think Imman doesn't agree though.
I'm just saying, if he was wearing a Blazers jersey when he did those dunks, I feel like we would get some different answers here. But
and if AG was wearing a Heat jersey, we probably get some different answers.
My thing is, if he was in a Blazers jersey and you had Clyde Drexler voting, then I expect Clyde Drexler to do what he's supposed to do in that situation. Like, you're supposed to let
it's true. It's their fault for having to. That's fair. That's fair.
Well, listen, y'all. We appreciate y'all coming on. We usually, we were putting our topics together for the show. And we said we might as well let's take an opportunity here just to invite some other folks on, just so we can kind of network as well, but just to kind of shine a light on the fact that there are very talented people doing very creative things. In that, despite all of the crazy shit going on in the world, whether it's pandemics, whether it's political unrest, all of that, the seed of creativity is still being nurtured. You feel me? And that's when the best art. That's when the best whatever is produced is usually out of crazy situations. So y'all check out the Dishes and Dime podcast. Put it up one more time for them so they can see it. Ladies, if y'all want to tell the people where they can find the podcast.
Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your.
I think we froze.
Anywhere you listen to your podcast, you'll find it there.
And check out Basketball News Network, please, and thank you.
And check out the morning tip-off with me every morning, 8 a.m. Eastern.
Alf, when are you going to come on the live pod and chill with us?
Oh my gosh.
I put that there. I don't know what's going on.
Did you hear me?
They can't hear us.
Y'all look up hijack the show. I don't know what's going on with our audio here. Guys, look them up. Y'all have had a chance to hear them.
Wait, I can't hear you
now. They
now.
clearly are intelligent, clever, witty women.
The morning toast.
Y'all can't hear us? Sounded good.
We hear y'all. Next. All right, we're gonna next. So y'all look up Dishes and Dimes. We fighting through this audio troubles, y'all. Now, Goob.
Wait.
It's internet troubles. It's not audio. But go ahead.
Goob, go ahead if you can. I think we're back. We had a little discrepancy with the audio here. Where can people find the podcast and what you got going on, Goob?
The podcast, the Marley Minded Podcast, can be found on all of your podcast platforms. Marley Minded TV is on YouTube. We're currently building out shows. The Sneaker Hunter is our first show outside of the Marley Minded Podcast that we also do a video podcast for as well. We just growing. We just trying to do what I do. Like, we're trying to bring people to the platform who are of the same ilk. So if you don't like getting live, if you don't like having fun, then go ahead and stay on your side of the fence. We're going to do what we do over here. But yes, Marley Minded Podcast, Marley Minded on IG, Marley Minded everywhere.
All right, one time y'all check out my boy. I like the fact that you're putting different shows on the channel like it's a network. That's kind of where to go.
All right, the last thing, hashtag Marley Minded, the new MTV.
Okay, the new MTV. There we go. Y'all see my man logo. Y'all check it out. Now we're gonna go back to Dishes and Dime real quick because y'all hit the Cybertron on us. One more time, where can we find the Dishes and Dimes podcast and your other things that y'all are doing, the morning show and whatever else?
You can find the Dishes and Dimes podcast on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. The morning show you can find on Twitter. The live show you can find on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. Just check out basketballnews.com. All of the stuff is plastered all over there.
And I'm going to say really quickly, Alf, we're waiting for you to come on the live show and come chill with us, get drunk with us on our live show. So let us know when you're free.
Listen, I'm drinking every night, so you know
we're drinking right now. Like when? Yeah. What's
the only thing is, you guys call me on my Sunday. I explained earlier, my Sundays are just like I disconnect. I was out at the beach, getting drunk on the beach. But
that was
any
rude.
other time,
You still didn't have to bring up the beach. There's a snowstorm here today.
I know. You know what weather we're dealing with?
Snowstorm?
There's a snowstorm.
No. Amon DM me, was like, yo, could you come audition the Dimes today? I'm like, I can't, I'm at the beach. And she was like, you know what? You could have just said no. You know what I'm saying? To tell somebody in Canada you're at the beach right now is rude. And I was like, damn, my bad. And then I sent her a picture of the beach.
It's been like 60 degrees for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. Yes. It's been great. I've been loving it.
It was like 85 the other day at the beach. Man. I was out there chilling.
Great, man.
It was like 85. Like, guys,
what does that mean?
Why do y'all live in such a stupid place?
Oh my God, I want to move so bad. You don't understand.
We in the north. So you got like a what do you call a triple fat goose in the closet somewhere? Y'all remember the triple fat goose jackets?
And niggas down here used to wear them.
Canada
goose?
Canada goose.
Yeah. In American people temperature, it's 27 degrees right now, and there's a blizzard outside.
In American people temperature, that is ridiculous. 27 degrees outside.
That's just dumb.
Yes, it's really.
We're not meant to live like that, y'all.
Anything outside of 40, I ain't really leaving the house unless it's very.
I'm not really leaving the house. No, the entire society of South Florida will shut down.
Wait, no, you want to know how
27?
You
think 37
and snow.
I lived in Atlanta for 2 years. If it snowed, the whole city shut down. That's how Black people react to snow properly.
Y'all are some pioneers up there.
We don't have a choice. This is
Andre 3000 had that line on Andre 3000 had a line, take some people, put them in the land of snow. That's y'all who he's talking about. Like, y'all are sun people living in the most frigid situations. But I'm telling you what's cool about it. Exactly.
Y'all children. See, now Haitians went to Quebec when we first got here. A lot of us, because they spoke French, it just made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the easiest acclimation, and then we worked our way back down south. But see, if you ever catch a Haitian in New York in some cold weather, we will be mismatched like a motherfucker. Because what's most important is being warm. We will have a green bubble goose, a purple scarf, pink shoes. It don't matter.
Whatever you got to do.
We'll be warm.
We'll be warm.
Yo, wrap it up. That's the show.
Is that all right? So we're gonna wrap it up right here. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate y'all. Whenever you need us to come on y'all's podcast, we are down. The love is real. It's very important. I was on a podcast earlier today, Heat versus the World. Just a black dude reached out to me, said he can come on my podcast. I said sure, because we all gotta support each other, man. Because if we don't, who will? So thank you guys for showing up. This has been fun, real fun.
Nice
opinions. Y'all look us up, man. Like, subscribe, all that.
Hit me up, Marley Minded on IG. That's how we can connect with everybody. Make sure that this happens.
Got it. Triple salute.
All right.